Yes, I'm in my pajamas because I just had surgery. I'm moving the camera. I'm hoping that I can show you how beautiful it is outside. If you have to have surgery, there we go. That's better. I highly recommend you do it in Southern California so that when you're recovering, you can see this beautiful scenery like I have outside the window there. Isn't that gorgeous? So, kind of a long story. I wanted to fill you in on what's been happening because this is a crisis in our healthcare system. And I'm sure that you know people who are suffering the way I have been. So, I'm going to go back a long time in 2005, before I became a practitioner, when I didn't understand that God designed the body to heal when we remove the interference. Back then, I was very much medical model because that's all I knew. And I hope that one of the actions that you can take, and an action that I continue to take, is to share the truth. Share with your friends. There are options. Medical model is not the only way. There are other options. So go back to 2005. I was having a lot of urinary stress incontinence, and it was definitely interfering with my life. I had talked to my doctors, and they said, do Kegels. Well, that wasn't the problem. In order to solve any problem, you have to remove the cause of the problem, right? That just makes sense. And that's a really important philosophy, foundational philosophy, and all the work that we do. So I went back to the doctor again, and I said, this is really interfering with my life. Let's do something about it. And he said, okay, we can do a surgery. We can put a piece of mesh under your bladder. And this was back in 2005. It was a little harder then to get information than it is now, but I should have taken more responsibility for myself. I should have investigated. I should have asked more questions. I should have said, are you sure that that's going to solve the problem? Do you think there could be another cause of the problem? I got the surgery, and it didn't help at all. When I went back 6 weeks later, I said, this has not changed my situation at all. And he said, oh, well, maybe your uterus must be sitting on your bladder. So I can remove your uterus if you want me to. Well, why was I going to let him do another surgery when the first one had not helped my situation at all? You want to know why it didn't help? It didn't remove the cause of the problem. Then I became a healthcare practitioner. And one of the tests that I did was a blood test. We measured anti-diuretic hormone. So that's kind of a double negative. So think about it. Anti-diuretic. It allows your body to hold onto water, and I had none. That was the cause of my problem. The surgery didn't help because it didn't remove the cause of the problem. After doing cellular healing for, it took a while. It took a couple of years. There was a supplement that I was taking that helped control the symptoms. And over time, my hormones repaired, and the problem that I had was gone. However, then I had a new problem. I had this mesh inside of me. And I clearly remember when the pain started. In 2007, I started getting a pain in my hip. And it would come and go. It might hurt every day for a week or a month, and then it might be gone for several months. But last year it was worse. And I started having other symptoms a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago. But this year, the pain has been increasing significantly. It would wake me up several times every night from my waist to my thighs. It was getting more frequent and more severe and more affecting me in more areas. And I will tell you that the pain that I'm experiencing is nothing compared to the pain that a lot of people are experiencing because of mesh implant. It is causing horrible, horrible problems. And a lot of people, they can't function. They can't work. They can't walk. Anytime you put a foreign object in the body, The newest science we're learning now, we didn't know in 2005, but the newest research is showing that the body starts to behave in an autoimmune fashion anytime you put a foreign substance in your body, like a mesh implant or a breast implant or anything like that. And when you consider autoimmune, the symptoms can be all over the body. This foreign invader, the body sees this thing, this implant, as a foreign invader, and the body is attacking that. And your symptoms can be everywhere because you can get cellular inflammation anywhere. My symptoms were not localized to where the mesh was. Although I did have symptoms there, I had symptoms in a lot of other places. So when I was one of the hosts on the 50 Ways to Women's Wellness Summit last year, Kate Sousa did an interview with me about breast implant illness. And I have watched many, many interviews about breast implant illness. You'll be able to see several on Dr. Pompa's CHTV. You can go to his website, drpompa.com, and you can watch lots of videos about that. And so I asked her, I've got this mesh implant. So how do I do research? And she recommended that I find some Facebook groups that would talk about mesh implants. So it was specifically about my situation. That was priceless. And I'm so grateful to all of the people who are participating in Facebook groups like that. I know that a lot of people don't like Facebook, and there are problems with Facebook, but you can take something and you can get a lot of the benefit from it without experiencing the negative. And so that's been my experience with these Facebook groups, because I was able to find details about how to choose a surgeon. First of all, to find someone who's not going to replace the mesh. That's not going to solve the problem. Second, find someone who's willing to remove the whole thing all at once. Some surgeons would just try to remove a little bit, and that's not going to solve the problem. You can't leave pieces of this thing inside of you and expect to be healed. So there were probably about 3 or 4 surgeons that I found. A lot of people were recommending they had personal success with, and you always want personal success stories are really the best source. Of course, you want to do some investigation yourself, but personal success is a really good testimony. So there was one at UCLA, and our son lives in Los Angeles. So that, of course, that's the one we chose, primarily because the surgeon was excellent, but also LA is a great place for us to be able to recover. And what he found when I went for my first checkup with him back in November, he did a physical exam, and he said, your mesh is right here, where it was causing some of the symptoms. So then the other thing he said is, yes, we have to remove the whole mesh, and I believe that we can do that. Now let's think about a little bit about mesh. It's I'm holding the computer with my other hand, but think about that mesh. It's little squares like the window behind me, and it's designed for the tissues of the body to grow around it. Therefore, it is a very difficult surgery. They have to find the mesh. Sometimes the mesh comes loose and they can't find all of it. And then they have to scrape the tissue off of the mesh and then remove it from the body. They found out when they started doing my surgery that it had come loose on the left side, and it was all bunched up on the right. So I have my incision is at least 3 inches long. And so they scraped that mesh off. It's a major, major surgery. And today's Wednesday, the surgery was early Monday morning, and I'm already feeling better. I slept better last night, and I've slept in a long time. I immediately started having less pain. So I'll continue to share some of my journey. I'll share some of the pre-op things that I did, some of the things I did to strengthen my body so that I could recover faster, some of the things I'm going to be doing this week and this next month so that I can recover faster and get my health back. There was really never a question of whether I was going to do the surgery, because long term, I'm still very young. I've got 30, 40, 50 good years left in me, and I had to get that mesh out. so that my body would not continue attacking it. I hope that you will please share this information. And so many people have stories that are so much worse than mine. Some people, when they have the surgery, they cannot get all of the mesh repaired. They can't get it removed. Some people, they get it removed and their recovery is just really, really hard. It is becoming a big problem. There are lots of different times and different reasons for people to get mesh. It's not just for bladder support. There are lots of, like hernia, some people get a mesh to repair that. There are other options. So if you know somebody who has some of those symptoms and is considering mesh, please look for other options. So continue to follow us, subscribe to our channel, and share. Please share this information, because you could be the person who could absolutely change someone else's life, either to repair something that's going wrong or to prevent them from taking this same journey. So please share.